The other lead is Noveria, a frigid corporate world where scientific research has ethical rules bent. At dock, we encounter a Japanese customs officer, Captain Meiko Matsuo, who doesn't know who we are. As soon as she does, we get clearance, so we're less secret agent and more guy with authority. The Japanese lady also uses the san honorific, which seems to come out of nowhere. At least, this means she greatly respects this Parasini person, but this lacks context on a frigid corporate alien world where the captain is speaking perfect English yet has no accent, and would have probably done away with any Japanese linguistics while she was learning English. Maybe it's a fad to use Japanese honorifics, or even Turkish ones? Are there lots of Japanese people running around? Are other human cultures and their languages part of the future? Is it just in Noveria? Is it just Mako? Maybe she has a really strict Japanese grandmother? Would a universal translator screw up Japanese? I don't know, at least give us a few advertisements or something. We then meet up with Parasini and find out Benezia is still at the Peak 15 research complex and arrived a few days ago. But this is Port Hanshan, and we will need a garage pass from her boss to get to Peak 15. If Liara is along for the ride, and before this point we didn't know Benezia would even be here, she'll make a comment about her mom and her loyalty towards Shepard.
She is here. I can't believe it. I imagine you want to talk to me, Shepard. About my mother.
No, I don't. I trust you, Liara. You may not be military, but you're part of my crew.
Thank you, Shepard. That means a great deal to me.
This is one of the many proper ways of doing character development. Now this is weird because we've been granted access to dock our spaceship and enter Port Hanshan due to our Spectre status, but we still need clearance to enter a garage so we can borrow Mako to travel to Peak 15. Okay, fine. So we talk to some Turian guy who has a garage pass, meet a bunch of mercenaries because the administrator is bad, apparently talk our way out of it.
How about this? You pretend you didn't see us, we'll pretend we didn't see you.
But end up killing them anyway, finally get the garage pass, and we're on our way. So we get to the garage, and boom, we have Geth attacking us. After we stop them, Mako comes by and gives us another Japanese honorific, the Sama suffix.
I don't believe that. We did thorough scans of those. There were no power sources, no element zero masses. If Benezia Sama's containers were packed with these things, there are many more out there.
Same argument, blah blah blah. But what's interesting here is her commentary about scanning the cargo for power and element zero masses. Does that have anything to do with a Geth? Remember, the Geth have not been seen for over 200 years, so it's natural they wouldn't be detected. The real question becomes who originally spotted Geth activity on Noveria and how. We drive around on the narrow wintry roads, fight more Geth in our Mako, and acquire currency and items from hundreds of meters away. We eventually make it to Peak 15, we then fight some more Geth and Krogan on foot, and then a friendly announcer tells us that Peak 15 has suffered a great deal of damage. There's biohazard material somewhere, and the VI interface is offline. One of our teammates mentions,
"We'll need to get the reactors back online."
So it sounds like we'll be playing technician for a while. We find a little clue as to what's going on.
Why are the turrets facing the wrong way?
They want to keep their people in as much as they want to keep others out.
Then fight some more Geth, and then encounter some kind of large violent alien bugs called Rachni. We know that because our HUD says so. And then we get to play technician. So we enter at the core through Mira and can play a Tower of Hanoi game to repair a computer's memory banks, or just slap on some Omnigel. We still get some fanfare and something clapping for us. So we hit the roof to connect some network landlines, then to the reactor core to reconnect some fuel lines, and we kill some more Geth and Rachni. So the repairs to Peak 15 are done. This allows us access to the transit hub. We hear an audio log about a worker who committed suicide because of a loose Rachni. The contaminants are in fact the Rachni, not some spore or airborne chemical they give us. We can also light them up. This gives us access to the tram so we can get to Rift Station. We meet up with Captain Ventralis, who's fighting off Rachni. Nasari was called in to clean up the mess by the Board of Directors, or Binary Helix. There was an attack or accident caused by the Rachni, and Olar was the only survivor and tells us the creatures' names are Rachni.
I've heard that word before.
Yeah, so have we. Our HUD told us. What have you got in your helmet, Tally? Dr. Cohen is trying to heal some patients from toxins from the creatures, even though they didn't seem to hurt us after we were poisoned by them continuously. The Asari Dr. Yalis is rude and busy meditating, and the Solarian Dr. Palin signed an NDA, so he can't say much. If we decide to help Dr. Cohen make a cure for the toxin, Dr. Yalis decides to permanently stop us. Turns out she's a Asari commando working for Benezia. We find out from Han Oler that the Geth came from the maintenance area. Getting back to the doctor, Dr. Cohen that is, we find out that one of the board of directors, whose name was Saren, transferred Dr. Yalis here a month ago and put her in as a sleeper agent. So we get a pass from Dr. Cohen to get to the maintenance area, and finally we encounter Benezia.
Oh God, what a cliche.
Turns out there's a Rachni mother, whom Saren was using to create troops to attack his enemies, or at least that was the plan. I'm not too sure how this works with the supposed cycle of destruction plot, or how this all works with the Reapers, but that's just a theory anyway. Oh, and bring Liara along for some added conversation.
Liara's here because she wants to be, not because I asked her to.
No, she's here because Shepard ordered her to. I don't recall a scene of her volunteering unless I missed it. Oh wait, maybe Shepard's just playing along. Wow, so a Paragon dialogue choice involves lying? So we end up fighting her, some Asari commandos, and Geth, and as her troops get destroyed, she biotically opens doors to summon more troops. And you can see her power level decreasing as this goes along. Turns out Benezia isn't in total control of her mind, and opening all those doors weakens her. She comes to her senses, telling us of something called indoctrination, which is caused by Saren's ship, that massive dreadnought we saw in Eden Prime, and hence why she isn't in control of her mind. Turns out her real reason to come to Noveria wasn't to control the Rachni problem, but to find the location of the Mu relay. If you choose the bottom option, we don't know exactly how she got this data, but she copied the location to an OSD, and she gives it to us. If we choose another option, we find out that a Rachni queen found it some 2,000 years ago, and Rachnis can share memories. Benezia then goes into a relapse and gets all evil again, and calls on what's left of her minions. So now we directly attack her and her minions, and we get her final scene. Despite not even breathing heavily and being able to stand up and communicate well, let alone the offer of using Metagel, which can fix anything, she decides to slump back down and die, even though there's no bullet holes or any physical damage of any sort, especially to her chest or hat area. Maybe it's the mental trauma or the reality that her mind will never be her own, and she alas dies. And for some reason, her character model simply disappears. We then get to talk to the Rachni Mother Queen, and she communicates via telepathy through one of the intermediary Asari commandos. Now at this point I was thinking, wouldn't it have been awesome if it was Benezia as the host? That would have been an interesting scene if Liara was present. The Rachni are the first real aliens we communicate with. Even how they communicate is alien to us, as well as their understanding and control of life, as in describing the Asari commando she's controlling.
This vessel is at the edge, yet she struggles. You cannot see her magnificence. We are breathing on the embers. We are the mother. We sing for those left behind, the children you thought silenced. We are Rachni.
I cannot create life, but I can breathe on the remaining embers.
The Rachni communicate through touchings of thought, and the Queen seems rather sentimental and remorseful, especially toward her children that were stolen from her, even asking Shepard to kill them for her, as they were only taught fear.
Makes sense. A baby left alone in a closet until he's 16 won't be sane.
Before we kill her bad children, we have to make the decision to free her or kill her. Why we have to make that kind of choice is odd, since there's nothing stopping us from simply walking away, or immediately contacting the Council. If we were paying attention to some side stories or the Codex, or just walking the Presidium, we have discovered that the Rachni were the cause of the Rachni Wars, which was a huge problem toward galactic peace. It was determined to give Krogans massive jumps in technology, as they had the numbers, physiology, and drive to fight them off, to the point of declaring the Rachni extinct. This in turn caused the Krogans to become the dominant force, which caused the Solarians and the Turians to construct a biological weapon called the genophage that dramatically decreased the rate of Krogan births. So suffice to say, this is a pretty big choice given the Rachni's history, and of what it means to have a living queen, now that one is an agent of the Council looking for galactic peace. In any event, this Rachni queen wasn't involved in the Rachni Wars and is pretty much innocent. When asked, she has no interest in hurting others, and plans only to do what normal species do, and that's procreate and take care of her children. Now, killing the Rachni queen is no big deal, she dies, but letting her go raises some questions. Can Rachni survive on the wintry wonderland that is Noveria? She said she'd find a place hidden to teach her children harmony. If this hidden place isn't the planet, how are they going to get off Noveria?